Hey, welcome back everyone. It's time to get back to my Los Angeles list series. Today we're going to venture into the reasons why you shouldn't move to LA. I mean, we kind of already did that with my worst neighborhoods in LA video. Sadly, bad neighborhoods are a gimme on why you shouldn't move to any major city. But LA, like you learned in that video, they have some bad ones. Today we're going to get a little deeper into the reasons why LA might not be for everybody. I mean, it might be a paradise to you, but for some people, it could be a living hell. This video is about things you should consider before moving to LA. So here's my top 10 reasons not to move to Los Angeles, California. Number 10. Nobody's just a waiter. Nobody is just a waiter or waitress. They're all waiting for their big break. Now, this is a stereotype, but it's real. You'll be shocked how many times you actually hear some version of this story. It never seems to be like anyone has this job just to have a job. Everyone's answer to this question, what do you do, is, I'm an actor, I'm a musician, I'm a writer. Then they follow that up with, I'm only working here at Starbucks or IHOP till I get my big break. Now, like I said, this is a stereotype, but you will be surprised how many times you hear some version of this story. And sometimes they might even tell you a little bit more. They'll tell you they didn't want to wait tables, and that's why they started stripping or doing fetish porn, and now they're trying to get their career back on track by serving drinks. Hollywood brings out the worst in people. And yes, in case you don't know, Hollywood is part of LA. Number 9. Rent is bad and home prices are twisted. Rent is bad everywhere, and I get it. Home prices have jumped for the average American to an unattainable level in most major cities. Los Angeles has gotten really bad. $560,000 is the average home price in Los Angeles County. If you look at the average home price in Los Angeles and compare it to San Francisco and San Jose, it doesn't look that bad. But when you take into account how many low-income and depressed neighborhoods LA has, you start to understand it. If you want to live in a better neighborhood, you're looking at upwards of $700,000. Now, of course, everyone has a different opinion on what a good neighborhood is. I grew up in the Torrance Redondo area and see that as a good place. While people in Palos Verdes, which is right next to them up on a hillside, they would never think of living in Torrance or Redondo. Well, at least most of them. I've heard a couple actually say that to me. I would never live down there. The closer you get to the beach, rent gets crazy. And in the area I grew up in, the closer you get to the beach, the rent starts getting nuts. And that's within a mile or so from the beach. And if you get within a half a mile of the ocean, it gets harder and harder to own a home for under $1 million. Idaho starts looking pretty good about this time. Number 8. Earthquakes. Earthquakes are real and they're really scary. Maybe it does take one of the giant ones to scare the locals, but that happens. If you're not from an earthquake zone and you feel one for the first time, you will freak out. Now, I was at Fort Ord, California when the San Francisco Bay one happened in '89. It was called the Loma Prieta earthquake. It was a big one, and I was even scared. The other soldiers around me from places like Texas and Iowa and Florida and stuff like that, they were beyond scared. They were shaking. Fort Ord was about an hour and a half south of the epicenter. It's now a college, that's why I say was. I saw 3-story cement barracks sway back and forth. I could visually see them move. That's how unnerving it was. Windows were breaking. It was bad. Soldiers got their field equipment after the earthquake and went and slept in the woods for a couple of nights. So my warning to you is if you've never been in an earthquake and you experience your first one, and you probably will if you're in LA for a couple of years, be prepared. It is scary. You might wet your pants. Number 7. Traffic is bad but mind-blowing in the rain. It almost never rains in LA. And for the ass clown about to post some comment and stat about the rain in LA, stop. I'm sure you could find some stat about rain in LA being as bad as any other place. To that person, congratulations. We are all proud of you for your ability to find one-offs on the internet. Now back to LA drivers. If you get on the freeway and it starts to rain, the average LA native treats it like it's starting to rain oil. And they're about to slide off the freeway into one of those bad neighborhoods I talked about in my other LA video. Traffic will slow down to a crawl as the residents of Southern California white-knuckle it home in the rain. If you happen to look over in the 2-mile-an-hour traffic and see someone losing their mind yelling, "What is happening? What is happening? What is happening?" They're from a place that gets bad weather occasionally and don't know why the people of LA have come to a screeching halt on the freeway because it started to sprinkle. Number 6. Say goodbye to really fresh produce and Christmas trees under $60. You would think that you could get great produce everywhere in LA. I mean, after all, California is mostly farmland in the center of the state. Now, if you thought that, you're partially wrong. You just need to know where to go in your neighborhood. I hate chain supermarkets in general, but LA supermarkets are the worst. If you had a better experience at a grocery store in LA than I've ever had, then great, congratulations. I had a friend in high school that worked produce at Lucky's grocery store for about 10 years. Lucky's is no longer in existence. It was bought out by Albertsons years ago. When he left and moved to Oregon, I saw him and he said it was because he liked to take pride in the work that he does, and he found it impossible to do it there. As far as Christmas trees go, I've only bought them in Los Angeles and Oregon. And because we only have palm trees in LA, what costs $20 in Oregon for a Christmas tree is about $140 in LA. Merry Christmas. I know that's a weird one, but that one's always bugged me. Number 5. Status. No matter how you shake it or how much you deny it, LA is all about status. People worry more about how they look and what they own than how they feel. This is just how it is in LA. That is one of the most refreshing things I've ever experienced when I go to other states or cities. People are people. Even people from crap neighborhoods in LA try and make it sound classy. There are people in LA trying to be the next Kardashians. Like, that's something you want to strive to be. It's just weird. If you're not from LA, you're going to see it, and I promise you, 90% of you are going to be grossed out. Number 4. Crimes in neighborhoods. Now, we talked about neighborhoods in length on my last LA video. I will leave a link below in case you're underinformed on the easiest place to get robbed and murdered in LA. LA isn't as bad as, say, Chicago or Detroit, but it has some areas that you should truly stay clear of. One thing about LA, car theft is always in fashion. They also have home invasion robberies like on a weekly basis. I mean, a handful of them every week. Some places in LA, it's hard to get a cop to even come investigate a crime unless you have a body attached to it. Now, please, if your car gets stolen, don't go kill someone and put them where your car was so the cops will show up. Just admit it. Your car's gone. Let it go. Get another one. But yeah, unless you have a body, a lot of neighborhoods in Los Angeles, the police don't even show up to investigate it. They just kind of take a report and over the phone and tell you to have a nice day, and that's the end of it. Kind of sad. Number 3. It's not Cali. Now, this is the quickest one on the list, and it's easy. Don't call it Cali. Just don't. It's California. Nothing says I'm not from California like calling it Cali. SoCal is somewhat acceptable. Just remember that. Number 2. Everything is more expensive. This is another easy one. Paradise is expensive. Ask Adam and Eve. They got evicted over an apple. In LA, rent and home prices are just the tip of the overpriced iceberg. Car insurance is nuts. Car registration is stupid. Traffic tickets are obscene. Food, gas, utilities are some of the highest in the country. It even costs $100 for this weed pipe that looks like a branch. And no, that's not a kazoo from Lord of the Rings. It's a pipe. You put your weed in it. My friends from LA say the same thing. You gotta pay to stay. And it's the truth. You pay through the nose. And number 1. The beach gets old quick. The beach is why most people will move to LA. If you've never been, you've probably built up an image of what life on the West Coast is like from what you've seen on TV and in movies. It's an illusion. I grew up never living further than 1 mile from the Pacific Ocean. From age 1 to 19, I lived in Southern California, always within a mile of the ocean. While I was in my first 4 years in the military, I lived in Monterey, less than a mile from the beach. That's in Central California. It really doesn't count because that's cold water. And I can tell you this, it gets old. Now, if you're in high school, you'll go to the beach a bunch, usually from about June 15th-ish to about the middle of August. You see your friends, you make plans, you interact with the opposite sex, you have a lot of hookups and a lot of fun. Everyone smells like cocoa butter. And you party. After August, the beach is a lonely place. You maybe hit the beach 2 or 3 times the rest of the year. That's most people. Unless you're a hardcore surfer, you're there all the time, and you're still alone. You'll see a couple friends, but no girls. After you get out of high school, it's never the same. Friends fade away, you have a job, so you stop by a handful of times during the summer, maybe see a friend or two. As you get older, the beach is right there, the same place it's always been, it just seems further away now. What I'm saying is you won't go half as much as you imagine. As always, you have those one-offs that maybe have some money, trust fund or whatever, and they're going to go down to the beach and they're going to be there every single weekend, whatever. Quit typing. I don't want to hear about it. Those people are lucky. But for the rest of the 99.9% of us, that's exactly how it's going to happen. You're going to move there. You're going to take a tech job or something like that in Santa Monica. You're going to be living the Southern California dream. The first couple weeks you get there, you're going to go to the beach and stuff like that if it's summer. And then it gets further and further away, like I said. It's really a strange thing. The beach is not all it's cracked up to be. And it's expensive when you go down there. Parking, food, whatever. Parking is through the roof in most beach cities. So definitely, if you're not parking at a meter, make sure you see how much they're charging at that lot. Don't just drive in and hope it's normal. Well, that's it. That's my video on the top 10 reasons you might not want to move to Los Angeles. Keep in mind, this isn't everyone. Some people love it, some people might hate it. Food for thought before you make the jump to Los Angeles. But most importantly, I hope you got some information out of it, some entertainment out of it. I hope you subscribe, you give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, tell me what you thought about it, if I missed anything. I have a Patreon account, I'll leave a link below if you want to support the channel. Also at the end of the video, some friends of mine have vlogs also, so I will leave links to those. Maybe you could check them out. Everybody have a nice day. Be nice to each other.